Hey TopThangs family, today we're embarking on a journey through time, exploring the anatomy of revolutions, from the storming of the Bastille to the streets of our cities today. We'll dissect how revolutions ignite, the patterns they follow, and critically analyze whether our current era is on the brink of upheaval. And yes, we'll delve into the recent UnitedHealthcare incident, unraveling its deeper implications. At their core, revolutions are seismic shifts in political and social structures, often erupting when the populace feels oppressed, unheard, and driven to demand radical change. But what lights the fuse? Let's rewind to 18th century France. The French Revolution from 1789 to 1799 was propelled by several key factors. Economic hardship. France's involvement in foreign wars, like aiding the American Revolution, drained its coffers, leading to staggering national debt. The burden fell on the common people through exorbitant taxes, while the nobility enjoyed exemptions. Social inequality. Society was divided into three estates. The third estate, comprising commoners, bore the brunt of taxation, and had minimal political power, breeding resentment. Political discontent. Absolute monarchy stifled political expression. The Estates General's convening in 1789 highlighted demands for representation and reform. Enlightenment ideas. Philosophers like Rousseau and Voltaire championed liberty, equality, and democracy, inspiring people to challenge the status quo. Fast forward to today. Do we see echoes of these catalysts? Economic disparities? The wealth gap has widened, with the top 1% holding a significant portion of global wealth. Economic policies often favor the affluent, leaving many struggling. Social inequality. Marginalized communities continue to fight for equal rights and opportunities, facing systemic barriers. Political frustration, voter disenfranchisement, perceived corruption, and unresponsive governance erode public trust. Information revolution. The internet and social media have democratized information, enabling rapid dissemination of revolutionary ideas and mobilization. Historically, certain signs precede revolutions. Widespread discontent. When large segments of society feel marginalized and oppressed. Economic crisis. Severe financial downturns exacerbate public frustration. Loss of legitimacy. When governing bodies are viewed as corrupt or ineffective. And mobilization channels. The availability of platforms for organizing and spreading revolutionary ideas. Analyzing our current landscape, these indicators are present to varying degrees. The question is, are we on the cusp of a revolution? Recently, UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson was assassinated in a meticulously planned attack. The assailant, Luigi Mangione, left behind monopoly money and bullets inscribed with delay, deny, and depose. These elements are laden with symbolism. Monopoly money, a stark critique of corporate greed and the commodification of essential services like healthcare. Bullet inscriptions, referencing the delay, deny, defend strategy, highlighting systemic issues within the insurance industry. Public reaction has been polarized. Some condemn the violence, while others, dubbing Mangione the CEO adjuster, view his actions as a grim exposé of systemic injustices. This incident has ignited debates about corporate accountability and the lengths to which individuals might go when pushed to extremes. During the French Revolution, figures like Robespierre became synonymous with radical change, often through violent means. The guillotine symbolized both justice and terror. Today, individuals like Mangione are being compared to such revolutionary instruments, reflecting deep societal frustrations. Let's pause and reflect. Historical patterns. Are we witnessing a repetition of history, where systemic oppression leads to radical actions? Moral boundaries. How do we reconcile the pursuit of justice with the condemnation of violence? Role of the individual. In the face of systemic issues, what actions are justified and where do we draw the line? The overthrow of Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Hey TopThangs family, as we explore the anatomy of revolutions, it's crucial to examine the recent overthrow of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, a poignant example of revolutionary dynamics in our time. Background. In 2011, Syria erupted in protests against Assad's regime, demanding democratic reforms. The government's brutal crackdown escalated these protests into a devastating civil war, resulting in over 500,000 deaths and displacing millions. The overthrow. Fast forward to December 2024, a coalition of rebel forces launched a decisive offensive, capturing key cities and ultimately entering Damascus. Facing imminent defeat, Assad fled to Russia, where he was granted asylum. This development underscores several revolutionary themes. Persistent grievances. Despite years of conflict, the underlying issues, political repression, economic hardship, and social injustice, remained unresolved, fueling continued resistance. Catalysts for change. The regime's inability to address public demands, coupled with external pressures and shifting alliances, created an environment ripe for revolution. Role of external actors. Russia's asylum to Assad highlights the complex international dimensions of revolutions, where foreign interests can influence outcomes. Consider this. The Syrian revolution began with peaceful protests and evolved into a protracted civil war, culminating in the regime's overthrow. What factors sustain revolutionary movements over time? How do internal and external dynamics interplay in the success or failure of revolutions? What lessons can be drawn from Syria's experience for other nations facing similar struggles? By reflecting on these questions, we can deepen our understanding of the intricate processes that drive revolutionary change and the multifaceted challenges involved in achieving lasting transformation. Let's talk why revolutions happen, why it matters today, and what we can learn. Alright, TopThangs family, let's sit down and talk. No crazy edits, no dramatic effects, just me and you diving deep into what's happening in the world and why revolutions keep popping up in history. It's important because what's happening today might feel chaotic, but it's not new. History's got a lot to teach us, so let's break this down. Why do revolutions even happen? Every single revolution, French Revolution, Russian Revolution, Arab Spring, starts with the same basic ingredients. 1. People are struggling. The rich are getting richer and the rest are barely scraping by. Sound familiar? 2. Injustice feels unavoidable. Whether it's unfair taxes, broken healthcare, or a government that seems deaf to the people, it's like hitting a brick wall over and over again. 3. No one's listening. That's when things boil over. People stop asking for change and start demanding it. Take the French Revolution. The rich and the monarchy lived in excess while regular folks, the peasants, couldn't afford bread. Eventually they said, "Enough is enough," and stormed the Bastille. But revolutions don't always end cleanly. The guillotine started as a tool for justice, but quickly became a symbol of terror. So, are we seeing that today? Look around. The wealth gap today is insane. The richest 1% own half the world's wealth. Meanwhile, millions of people can't afford basic healthcare, rent, or food. Sound familiar? And then you've got moments like the UnitedHealthcare incident. Let's talk about it. Luigi Mangione's attack wasn't random. He left behind monopoly money. Think about that. He's saying the system feels like a rigged game, where healthcare, something that should help people, has become a for-profit scheme. Social media blew this up because, honestly, people get it. They see the symbolism. And suddenly, Mangione isn't just a man. He's a message. They're calling him the CEO adjuster, comparing him to the guillotine. That's how frustrated people are with corporations and the way justice works. It's not just healthcare either. When crimes happen against the working class, workplace deaths, neglected neighborhoods, how often do you see a national manhunt or 24/7 news coverage? That frustration is real. What about Syria? What happened there? This isn't just a history problem. Look at Syria. In 2011, people started protesting for basic rights and a better life. The government responded with violence, and what started as peaceful protests turned into a brutal years-long war. Now in 2024, rebel forces finally toppled Bashar al-Assad. It took 13 years of conflict, 13 years of people refusing to give up. But the big question is, why did it take so long? What does it mean for other countries where people feel unheard? Syria reminds us that revolutions are complicated. It's not just about anger, it's about people believing things can change, and they fight for it, no matter the cost. Revolution today. Why social media changes everything. Here's something wild. Revolutions used to spread through pamphlets, word-of-mouth, secret meetings. It took months, sometimes years, to mobilize people. Now, all it takes is a viral post. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, information spreads like wildfire. The Arab Spring proved this back in 2011, when social media helped people organize protests. Today, that same power is helping people expose systems they feel are broken, whether it's healthcare, housing, or justice. But here's the tricky part. Social media can spread truth and misinformation. It can inspire action, but it can also confuse people. So, as much as it's powerful, we need to ask, is social media making revolutions easier, or just messier? What about violence? Where do we draw the line? This is the hardest part. The French Revolution started with good intentions: liberty, equality, justice. But then came the reign of terror. The guillotine, which symbolized justice, became a weapon of fear. With the UnitedHealthcare incident, we need to ask the same tough questions. Is violence ever justified in the fight for justice? Or does it just create more suffering? The truth is, systems don't break easily. People only resort to radical action when they feel there's no other option. That's why these moments matter. They force us to ask, how did we get here? So, are we on the brink of a revolution? Let's be real, the conditions are there. Economic inequality, people losing trust in governments, systems that feel rigged, and technology that amplifies everything. The question is, will change happen peacefully, through reforms and awareness? Or will history repeat itself, with all the chaos that comes when people feel unheard? Let's keep the conversation going. TopThangs family, revolutions aren't just events, they're wake-up calls. History shows us that when systems ignore people, those people push back. But here's the deal, it doesn't have to come to violence. Awareness, conversations, and collective action can create change too. So let's ask ourselves, 1. Are we seeing history repeat itself? 2. What can we learn from moments like Syria, the French Revolution, or even the UnitedHealthcare incident? 3. And most importantly, how can we fight for change without losing our humanity? If this video made you think, let me know in the comments. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Smash that like button if you're ready to question everything. This is TopThangs, and we're here to keep the conversation going. Stay curious, stay critical, stay connected. TopThangs family. Understanding the anatomy of revolutions isn't just about studying the past. It's about recognizing the signs in our present and shaping a just future. Here's what we can do. Stay informed. Educate ourselves about systemic issues and their historical contexts. Engage in dialogue, foster open conversations about grievances and potential solutions, advocate peacefully, support reforms through non-violent means, ensuring that the pursuit of justice doesn't perpetuate cycles of violence. History has shown that when the cries of the oppressed go unheard, revolution becomes the language of the unheard. As we navigate our complex times, let's strive for a society where justice is achieved through understanding, empathy, and peaceful action. If this exploration resonated with you, smash that like button, share this video to spark conversations, and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world. This is TopThangs, where we don't just observe history, we learn from it to transform our future.